Hey guys, Agent of Doubt here, world's worst SJW, sometimes worst at it, and since the last time I made a Ramble video, a lot's happened, I suppose. I saw Blair White in a Tom MacDonald music video as the accompanying accessory girl, I suppose. I just saw all the Twitter storm about Floyd Mayweather did not knock out Logan Paul like everybody had hoped. It went 8 rounds of exhibition, and you know, people at least got to watch 8 rounds of boxing. Whereas I can remember back in the day, I was afraid to buy a Mike Tyson pay-per-view because it could be over in 30 seconds. That's not something you want to drop $50 on, you know. Now promotions have gotten to the point where they've put things on the undercard so that you actually get to see what it is you're paying for. But let's see. What else has happened? I got a license to practice mental health services in the addiction field in the state of Colorado. That happened. That followed my graduation with my master's degree, so that's all that was waiting on anyway. But I still got other things that I have yet to achieve in that respect. So, not done yet. Hold your applause. But today, the whole reason why I turned on the camera was I got a message from Damius on Twitter. Just met him at Damius4, and he wanted me to maybe check in on somebody who I haven't interacted with in years, and I honestly have no rapport with anymore. That was Micaiah B. Now, it is important context to this story that I'm about to tell that Micaiah B is a YouTuber who is trans, female to male, and so I wouldn't bring that up unless it was actually important to the story, but it is because Damius messaged me and said, so what happened was I was irritated by a post Micaiah retweeted, and it was along the lines of cultural appropriation matters, people, and people need to start caring about it. And Damius said, my frustration is that part of society demonizes anyone as malicious or bad just for using or wearing things not of their culture. And then Micaiah said, get out if I'm not going to be rational or care what people are saying about cultural appropriation, and blocked me. Happens a lot with heated issues that people, when they're feeling like they don't want to have the discussion at a certain level, they just start blocking people. You know, they feel like they're done with their share of trying to win hearts and minds in that particular arena, and they just want to be around people who think the same as they do, or at least a modicum of that. And they pick wherever that baseline is. So next, Damius wrote, from there I accidentally misgendered him, and that's where the original poster whom got retweeted butted in. She thought I misgendered Micaiah out of anger or malice. Micaiah liked that post, and I got mad for that insinuation that I would misgender him in that way after knowing me for a long time as he has. Okay. If you guys want to have better communications, I would recommend getting off the Twitter and off the texts and off the Facebook posts and actually calling a motherfucker, or face-to-face communication. This is one of those things where, it's easy to see that technology has become an impediment to your conversation. Next, Damia says, but what I said wrong to her is... Oh, God. Fucking train. I can't control the train, sorry. What Damia said was, but what I said wrong to her is that how can she be mad for those that wear things of other cultures where she is just as demonized as part of the trans community, doesn't think that he is trans enough. And Damius in this one paragraph has used both pronouns, and sometimes it is hard, especially when you knew someone prior to being trans, to use the right pronouns all the time. I have that problem in very close relations to me. Doesn't excuse it, just I understand the struggle is real, So then Damia says, so he's like, how dare I compare, and block me, giving no reason of why it's not accurate. I honestly don't know. I mean, he can be right. It just seems illogical of a question. And so I summarized this back to Damius, and I said, so your question was, how can you demonize someone for appropriation when you could be seen as appropriating the other gender? And he said, yeah, when you're accused of, he said, people say this to him a lot. And, I have seen throughout my lifetime, not just with trans issues, but like LGBT issues versus racial issues being compared a lot. And the intersectionality between them being scrutinized to a level that, when you get to a certain point, I would just say, don't let it ruin friendships. When you're picking at the minutia, I would say you have to realize how deep you are into that conversation, and it's like trying to explain Star Trek to a John Wayne fan. It's like you're so far into this other world where like a lot of people don't have conversations like that, and you just have to realize that there are nerves that you're going to step on that you don't even know are there. They're like landmines in the conversation just waiting for you. And if you're going to have conversations on those topics, you just have to maybe go into it thinking, I'm going to break a few eggs, and hopefully I have a strong enough friendship with that other person that I can apologize when I'm wrong and ask them to tell me if there's things that I'm wrong on that I don't even realize. And hopefully the friendship is strong enough that they haven't gotten so burnt out on explaining it over and over again that they actually, give you a clue. But I personally had this conversation on the Breakfast Club, even in that live show with Raven, who is trans right now, and I said, I just don't have that level of hatred for Rachel Dolezal that a majority of the internet seems to have for her. She being the person who was actually an office holder in the NAACP and was trans race, and people called that racial appropriation because, she was lily white growing up, and then made herself look to be African American, and identified as such. And a lot of people did not like that. And what I can tell you is there's a way to go about things that produces results. And it's very simple. You catch more flies with honey. Or love is all you need. One of those things. It's basically, I don't hate Rachel Dolezal. I'm willing to have the conversation with her about how her using the black identity takes away from black people. But I don't hate her for it. In the same way, I would say that there are TERFs. These are the trans exclusionary radical feminists, and Micaiah probably has to deal with them. They're the feminists who, they want to protect women so much that they don't want a single penis to enter the female restroom because it could be dangerous, and so they don't accept trans women as women. So there's a certain level of hatred that some of them use when they're trying to express their opinion that they would like to have a penis-free zone as a safe space for biologically female double X chromosome people to go to so that they can be completely at ease with the idea that they can pee without their crotch exposed and a penis coming into the room, and I'm gonna say that the emotions are real, right? Whether or not the fear is justified, I'll say the emotions behind it, the they are real and held by a lot of people, and you're not going to win those hearts and minds by hating on people. Just go ahead and Google TERFs, and you'll find a whole bunch of people who use that word as a label for people they disagree with in that respect. But I guess in the years that I've been on YouTube and the years that I've been studying to be a counselor, I have just lost a lot of my desire to be hateful towards people because I know how much it doesn't work. You change behaviors more with rewarding people than you do punishing, and you also win hearts and minds more with love and respect than you do with hate and blocking people and shutting people out of the conversation. And yeah, I'm not going to say that I'm perfect in that respect. I was one of those people who kind of wanted to see Logan Paul knocked out. Guilty as charged. But I think a lot of this has to do with who is it okay to hate? Because a lot of people cannot express themselves and feel comfortable in life unless they have something to focus their hatred on. an approved punching bag for their hatred. And for Micaiah, it seems like people who appropriate another person's race are people that it's okay to hate on. And people who are transgender are not okay to be hating on in the same way. I would posit that neither are okay to hate on because hate doesn't produce good results. It doesn't change people's minds, right? But in his mind, in Micaiah's mind, it's it's okay to hate somebody if they do blackface. And I've seen extremes to that where all sorts of things like Robert Downey Jr.'s depiction of an actor who was tragically unaware that his blackface was wrong was also like considered like something that we couldn't do in this modern climate of race relations. But I like to use the example of, say, an anime convention to say there are people who are not of another culture who can appreciate that culture by trying to dress up like them and, you know, it's okay. I think you need to really consider the intent behind the appreciation. You know, if it's to mock someone for their physical characteristics, maybe that's not okay. But when you're just appreciating the art, you know, I give it a pass. And so there are some people who don't, who would think that an anime convention is absolutely just rampant cultural appropriation and that we shouldn't do it. And that we're all sickos with Asian girl fetishes. Not the case in this person, but you know. But I think a lot of what we do in life is trying to pick out the black sheep in order to circle the wagons around that one person that it's okay to hate, so that the rest of us can feel more unified by way of our, you know, solid hatred of that one person that we've all designated as the scapegoat. And yeah, it's never good for the scapegoat, but sometimes it's, especially for people who aren't at the highest levels of maturity, sometimes it's a bonding process that they're going through, that they all get together in their hatred of the other. And I've had discussions with people about who is it okay to hate, right? And one of them that has come up repeatedly as, you know, one of the worst crimes you could ever do would be, you know, it's okay to hate rapists, right? They did something so terrible that it's okay to imagine them going to prison and having the same thing happen to them. There's a song by Sublime called Date Rape, where it definitely ends that way by the end of the song. And if I'm to apply what I know to be true about how we fix the world, then that song comes from a bad place. It's wanting bad things to happen to somebody who we've accepted as it's okay to hate. And so we want bad things to happen to that person. Another example I can give you of us like almost universally deciding as a whole planet that somebody's okay to hate would be Hitler. And to go back to that, prison rape style analogy, if you were to watch the Adam Sandler movie Little Nicky, Hitler in hell has been sentenced to a daily ass ramming with a pineapple. And the entire crowd in the movie theater, when I watched it in the theater, they erupted in laughter as to the eternal raping of the ass of Hitler with a pineapple. And, I imagine that there are a slight minority, a very, very tiny, tiny group of people who maybe were raped in prison who don't find that funny. Not one bit. But, if it weren't Hitler, if it was just somebody who, say, was jaywalking and that was what sent them to hell, or, some kid who stole cookies out of the cookie jar and then didn't have a chance to repent, and that's what sent them to hell. If they were raped with a pineapple for eternity, then we might have different feelings about, what, that's wrong. Nobody should be raped with a pineapple for eternity. Maybe you might have ideas of the crime should fit the punishment, or the punishment should fit the crime. And the eternal hell punishment should fit the sin. But really, is there some sort of thing that we can say warrants an eternal ass raping with a pineapple? You really have to put that person in a category of okay to hate. And I would say that few people on this planet have reached that near universal level of people thinking it's okay to hate on them. Rachel Dolezal definitely has made that category of so many people in this world think what she did was wrong. I'd say Trump maybe has enough people to be put in that category, at least at the moment. I remember when Bush Jr. W. He might have been in that category a couple decades ago, but I feel like he's kind of fallen out of that category as the hatred has died down a little bit for some people. But yeah, it's all about the dehumanizing othering of people, and just use more honey. Love's the way out of it. That's all I got to say about that. And after a while, people come around to that realization. Some take longer than others.